Hey everybody, welcome back to Vintage on Vintage. I'm Steve, and today I am doing a video response for Dylan at Double D Vintage Baseball Cards. And Dylan, he's got a great channel. He's a great guy. Boy, his love and passion for the hobby, it's infectious when you watch his channel. He's got sick cards, and even better, his card room is amazing. So if for any reason you're watching me and you're not watching Dylan, check his channel out because it is awesome. And what Dylan is asking us to do is do a video response of cards that go together. And it could be anything. It could be personal, it could be historical. So I've got quite a few cards here for a bunch of different reasons that I want to share with everybody. And I'm just going to jump right in. So the first two cards I want to share are these two cards. They're both 1954. This is a 1954 Topps Eddie Matthews. This is a 1954 Wilson Franks Carl Erskine. And the reason these are important to me is these cards were given to me by my dad. They're the oldest cards I own. I think I've told the story before about this Eddie Matthews here that I got in the fight with my sister and it got torn. And I've taped it up and I've kept it all these years. I've since replaced it with a better version that I ultimately want to get graded, but I'll never get rid of this one. And the Erskine, believe it or not, has survived pretty well over the years. I'm actually gonna probably send this in just to get it into a tux for a little more safekeeping. But those are the first two cards I want to share. Anybody who has watched Dylan's channel knows that Dylan is a big Angel fan. They're his favorite team. And these next two guys here are Frank Tanana and Nolan Ryan. And I know that Picker Jim, he showed Warren Spahn and Johnny Sane. And back in the days, I think it was Spahn and Sane and 2 Days of Rain. Well, for these two, they were dominant for the Angels in the 70s. They had a combined ERA of 307. They had 240 victories and over 3,600 strikeouts, but the team just wasn't very good. They were a sub 500 ball club. And what they used to say when I was living in Southern California as a kid, it was Tanana and Ryan and 2 Days of Crying. So for me, these cards always go together because that's the saying I remember growing up as a kid. So once again, Tanana and Ryan and 2 Days of Crying. The next cards for me, and I don't think I have to say a whole lot. I'm a Dodger fan, and this is Kirk Gibson, and that's Dennis Eckersley. And for me, that World Series, the home run Gibson hit, for me, it's my favorite, probably one of my favorite baseball events of all time. Eckersley, he was lights out at the time. Except for Mariano Rivera, I'm not sure I saw a reliever that was any better than Eckersley. And Gibson was hobbling up after getting them past the Mets, but hurting himself. They came in against big underdogs again against the A's, and Gibson hobbled up and he hit that home run. And the Dodgers went on to win that series. I was lucky enough to see the last 3 games in Oakland. So these two are always going to have, to me, will always go together. These two cards don't need a whole lot of explanation. You've got Gale Sayers and Brian Piccolo. They were teammates for the Bears. They were the first black and white player to room together. They became best of friends. Brian Piccolo ultimately got cancer and he passed away. And they made the movie Brian's Song, and it's one of my favorite sports movies of all time. Fantastic movie, fantastic story, and these two guys, they just go together because of that. In 1974, the San Diego Padres weren't sure. They thought they were going to move to Washington, but it wasn't done. So when they made the cards that year, they made multiple sets. One said San Diego Padres, the other says Washington National League. And they did that for multiple of their players. A couple of their better players on that team were Randy Jones. Randy Jones had won a Cy Young for these guys and was a pretty good pitcher in the early 70s. But here's his with San Diego, and here's his with the National League. And then there was Willie McCovey. Willie McCovey was, he's finishing his career. Tail end of his career was San Diego. But here's his Washington version, and here's his San Diego version. There's less of the Washington ones, so they're a little more valuable. Excuse me. The next set of cards I want to share are these three right here, and that is Jim Rice, Fred Lynn, and Dwight Evans. And this is their 1975 cards. This young outfield was a big reason why these guys went to the World Series, and they almost won their first World Series in a long time, losing ultimately to the Big Red Machine in one of the better series I remember seeing as a kid. And they were all just such good players. Lynn, I believe, was the Rookie of the Year and the MVP that year. He was everybody's darling. And then you had Jim Rice and Dwight Evans. They both played their entire career with Boston. Rice went on to be a Hall of Famer, and I would tell you that I believe Dewey deserves some Hall of Fame thoughts because he was a really good ball player, great defensively, and he started to hit really strong late in his career. But anyway, these three guys, to me, that was that team, and that will always they should always be together. The next three guys that I would talk about are right here, and that is Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, and Michael Jordan. And these three guys, they brought basketball back to the forefront. Basketball was pretty big in the 60s, but when they prior to Irvin Johnson and Larry Bird coming into the league, the NBA was known as a drug league. Their championships were shown on tape delay after the 10 o'clock news. So, but then Irvin Johnson was drafted by the Lakers. They won a title. Bird came in with the Celtics. They won a title. And the Lakers and the Celtics had that fantastic rivalry for the next, 10 years that really rejuvenated the NBA. And then you follow that up with Michael Jordan coming into the league and his just unbelievable athleticism. The game just took off to the international level that it is today. They all played on the Dream Team. But they're one of the reasons that this league is what it is today. And, I don't think you can think of I know you can't think of Magic without Bird, and I would throw Jordan into that equation and when it comes to getting the league where it needed to be. The next two for me, I'm a Dodger fan, and these two are huge, right? These are Koufax and Drysdale, and they were as good as it gets in the 60s. But the key here is in 1966, the two of these guys held out together. They felt that they had won over 50 games the prior season to combined, and they felt that their bargaining power was at its strength. So they went in and they tried to negotiate a 3-year, no-cut, $1 million deal. So they each wanted $166,000 a year for 3 years. It went back and forth for a while. The Dodger GM, Buzzy Bavasi, finally said he wasn't going to do it. He wasn't going to give multiple year deals, but he would give them raises. Drysdale went in to negotiate for both he and Koufax, and they both walked away. I think Drysdale walked away with 105, and Sandy walked away with somewhere around 130. So, but it was one of the first times. It was the first time ever, actually, that the players tried to utilize their strength to negotiate together. And the last set of cards are the ones that have been in the background all this time. And these are the last 6 Triple Crown winners in Major League Baseball. You starting right to left, you've got Miguel Cabrera, who hit 44 homers, drove in 139 runs while hitting 330. You've got Carl Yastrzemski, who also hit 44 homers, drove in 121 RBIs, and hit 326 in his Triple Crown year. Frank Robinson, 49 homers, 122 RBIs, 316 batting average. Mickey Mantle, the Mick, 52 homers, 130 ribbies, 353 batting average. And then Ted Williams, he actually is the last man. He won the 5th and 6th Triple Crown. That's why you've got 5 players here for 6 Triple Crowns. Williams hit 32 homers with 114 RBIs and 343 to win one of his Triple Crowns, and 36 homers, 137 RBIs, and 356 to win the other. So there you have it. Those are some of my cards that, for me, they go together. Hope you enjoyed this, Dylan. Had fun making it. It's a great topic. I hope everybody, let me know what you think. Stay safe, keep collecting, and we will talk soon.